In the quiet, timeless town of Betrayal, nestled between rolling hills and whispering forests where every street corner held the echoes of old tales, lived two sisters whose bond was as deep and enduring as the ancient oaks lining the village square. Elena and Isabella had grown up side by side, sharing secrets, dreams, and even the smallest moments of childhood wonder. Their laughter, once intertwined like the branches of a tree, had always been the soundtrack of their lives. Yet, as the years passed and the golden hues of youth slowly gave way to the complexities of adulthood, an unforeseen shadow began to darken their shared path, one that would test the strength of their sisterly love in ways they could never have imagined. Elena, the elder by a few precious years, possessed a quiet strength and a compassionate heart. She was known in Betrayal for her gentle smile and the graceful way she moved through life, always extending kindness to anyone in need. Her eyes, a clear reflection of the deep well of empathy that resided within her, often spoke volumes without a single word being uttered. Isabella, on the other hand, was a vivacious spirit, a whirlwind of passion and ambition whose laughter could brighten the gloomiest of days. Yet behind her exuberant demeanor lay a soul that yearned for meaning and connection, a soul that had been silently searching for the one thing that could complete her in a way nothing else ever had. It was during one fateful summer that their separate worlds converged with the arrival of Gabriel, a man whose presence seemed to carry with it the promise of something extraordinary. Gabriel was a stranger in Betrayal, a traveler whose eyes held the mystery of far-off lands and whose words were imbued with the wisdom of experiences that stretched beyond the borders of their small town. With his gentle charm and an air of quiet confidence, he stirred feelings in both sisters that were as unexpected as they were profound. For Elena, Gabriel embodied a sense of calm assurance that resonated with her own inner peace. For Isabella, he ignited a passionate flame that set her heart racing in a way she had never known before. Their first meeting took place in the Old Town Library, a place of hushed voices and the timeless rustle of pages that told stories of generations past. Elena had been there, as she often was on lazy afternoons, seeking solace among the dusty volumes that lined the shelves. It was there, between the faded spines of classic literature, that Gabriel and Elena exchanged a few kind words about a book that had captivated them both. His voice was soft yet resonant, and in his gaze, she saw not only a reflection of her own quiet longing, but also the promise of a shared future filled with gentle understanding and mutual respect. Not long after that chance encounter, Isabella found herself in the same library, drawn by a curiosity that defied explanation. The moment her eyes fell upon Gabriel, sitting in a sunlit corner with a book in hand, a tumultuous mix of emotions surged within her. It was as if time had momentarily stilled, allowing her to savor the intensity of that single glance. In that fleeting moment, Isabella felt an undeniable pull toward him, a magnetic attraction that was both exhilarating and terrifying. Over the following weeks, the sisters found themselves encountering Gabriel at various corners of Betrayal. At the local cafe, where he would sit quietly with a notebook and pen, at community gatherings where his thoughtful remarks captivated his audience, and even on long, meandering walks along the riverbank. Each meeting deepened the silent connection that bound them. Yet, unbeknownst to either, the same tender emotion was taking root in both hearts. As the days melted into a tapestry of shared glances and hushed conversations, the unspoken tension between the sisters grew. They had always prided themselves on their unbreakable bond. Yet the emergence of this shared affection for Gabriel created an undercurrent of rivalry that neither could fully comprehend. Elena, ever the nurturer, sought to guard her heart with cautious optimism, afraid that surrendering too completely to her feelings might shatter the delicate balance of their sisterly love. Isabella, with her impetuous nature, was swept away by the fervor of her emotions, determined to seize every moment of this newfound passion, even if it meant risking the sanctity of her relationship with Elena. The subtle shifts in their interactions were almost imperceptible at first. A lingering look that held a tinge of sadness, a smile that faltered at the sight of the other. But as the weeks turned into months, the growing discord became impossible to ignore. Gabriel, oblivious to the burgeoning conflict, continued to be a beacon of light in their lives. His kindness was genuine, and his interest in both sisters was expressed in ways that were both gentle and sincere. He spoke of his travels with a reverence that touched on poetry, and his quiet wisdom resonated deeply with Elena's calm spirit, while his adventurous tales and earnest passion for life struck a chord with Isabella. It was a delicate dance of affection and restraint, a balancing act where every word, every gesture carried with it the weight of unspoken truths. The sisters began to navigate this intricate maze of emotion, each grappling with the desire to be close to Gabriel, while simultaneously trying to preserve the unbreakable bond that defined their sisterhood. Their lives, once so harmonious, were now marred by moments of jealousy and quiet heartache, as each sister struggled to reconcile the love she felt for Gabriel with the love she had always shared with one another. One summer evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in shades of amber and rose, the tension reached its zenith. Veradale was hosting its annual festival, a celebration of music, art, and community that brought together people from all walks of life. In the midst of the festivities, under the soft glow of lanterns and the hum of laughter and music, Elena and Isabella found themselves standing side by side, both waiting for a moment that could never be recaptured. They exchanged tentative smiles, their eyes betraying the tumult that raged beneath the surface. Gabriel, ever the gracious host, moved between groups of people, his laughter mingling with the sounds of the night. For a brief, heart-stopping moment, the sisters looked at each other and silently acknowledged the shared pain of knowing that their hearts beat for the same man. The air was thick with unspoken sorrow, a premonition of the inevitable collision that would change their lives forever. In the weeks that followed the festival, the rift between the sisters began to widen. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly now faltered under the weight of unsaid words and lingering glances. Elena retreated into herself, seeking solace in the quiet corners of Veradale where memories of their childhood still lingered like fragile petals. Isabella, consumed by the intensity of her emotions, became more determined than ever to pursue the love that had so unexpectedly claimed her heart. Their once inseparable bond was now clouded by a silent rivalry that neither knew how to dispel. Each encounter with Gabriel only served to deepen the fissures between them. His words, meant to be kind and gentle, became a source of anguish as each sister interpreted them in ways that only heightened their inner turmoil. The delicate equilibrium of their shared love teetered on the edge of collapse, and the sisters were left adrift in a sea of conflicting emotions. As autumn settled over Veradale, the world around them began to mirror the inner decay of their relationship. The once vibrant leaves, now tinged with hues of crimson and gold, fell silently to the ground, each one a reminder of a bond slowly losing its luster. In the quiet solitude of long, reflective walks, both Elena and Isabella grappled with the unbearable weight of their divided hearts. Elena, with her gentle nature, found herself questioning whether the love she felt for Gabriel was worth the silent erosion of the sisterly love that had always been her anchor. Isabella, in moments of fierce introspection, wondered if her relentless pursuit of passion was betraying the essence of what it meant to be family. The emotional distance between them grew, and with it came a profound sense of loss. A loss not only of love for Gabriel, but of the unbreakable bond they had once shared. It was during one particularly chilly evening, when the crisp autumn air carried a hint of impending winter, that the inevitable confrontation arrived. The town was quiet, the usual clamor of daily life replaced by a heavy silence that seemed to envelope every corner of Veradale. In a secluded courtyard illuminated only by the soft glow of streetlights, the sisters met face to face, their eyes filled with a mixture of anger, sorrow, and regret. Words, long held back by fear and pride, tumbled out in a torrent of raw emotion. Elena spoke of her inner torment, the constant battle between her love for Gabriel and her devotion to her sister, a battle that had left her feeling torn apart at the seams. Isabella, tears glistening in her eyes, confessed the depth of her passion and the overwhelming desire to embrace the love that had captured her heart, even if it meant risking everything. Their voices, once harmonious and gentle, now echoed with the sound of heartbreak and betrayal. In that moment, as the cold wind carried away their whispered confessions, the sisters realized that their love for the same man had not only fractured their relationship, but had also exposed the deepest vulnerabilities within themselves. Gabriel, drawn to the murmurs of the confrontation, arrived on the scene with an expression of profound sadness. He had always known that the love he offered was a delicate gift, a gift that could either mend hearts or shatter them irrevocably. Seeing the sisters, once so inseparable, now locked in a painful struggle for the same affection, filled him with an overwhelming sense of sorrow. He implored them to see beyond the personal hurt, to recognize that the love they shared for him was only a small part of the larger tapestry of their lives, a tapestry woven with threads of family, history, and memories that transcended any singular romantic connection. But the sisters, consumed by their individual pain, could not find solace in his words. The emotional chasm between them had grown too vast, and the wounds that had been inflicted could not be mended by gentle reassurances alone. In the days that followed that fateful confrontation, Veradale seemed to lose a bit of its former light. The town's familiar rhythms became tinged with melancholy, as if the very air mourned the loss of something irreplaceable. Elena withdrew further into herself, her once bright eyes now clouded with sorrow and regret. Isabella, though still burning with the fierce passion that had defined her spirit, moved through the world with a heaviness that belied the fire within her. Their interactions, once filled with the effortless warmth of sisterhood, had become strained and formal, a constant reminder of the cost of their divided hearts. Gabriel, burdened by guilt and sorrow, tried desperately to bridge the gap between them, but his efforts only served to highlight the stark reality. The love they had for him, however genuine, had irreparably altered the course of their lives. As winter descended upon Veradale, bringing with it a blanket of snow that silenced even the loudest voices, the sisters faced the final, irrevocable choice. The harsh, unyielding cold of winter mirrored the chill that had settled in their hearts, a chill that could no longer be thawed by the warmth of shared memories or gentle reassurances. One snowy evening, beneath a sky heavy with unspoken goodbyes, the sisters found themselves standing at a crossroads. In the soft glow of a lone street lamp, they exchanged one last, lingering look, a look that spoke of love, loss, and the bittersweet beauty of what once was. With trembling hands and tear-streaked faces, they made the agonizing decision to part ways. It was not a decision born of hatred or spite, but one of profound sorrow and acceptance, a recognition that the bond they had cherished above all else had been irrevocably tarnished by the passions that had consumed them. In the wake of their separation, Veradale seemed to exhale a deep, mournful sigh. Elena retreated into the quiet solitude of a modest cottage on the edge of town, where she sought solace in the simple rhythms of nature and the timeless comfort of memories. Isabella, determined to forge a path of her own, left Veradale behind, carrying with her the fiery passion that had once defined her, now tempered by the bittersweet lessons of loss. Gabriel, left to wander the silent streets of a town that no longer held the light of their shared laughter, found himself forever changed by the tragedy of a love that had cost him everything he held dear. His days became a series of quiet reflections and solitary walks along the riverbank, where the flowing water mirrored the relentless passage of time and the unyielding march of fate. Years passed like fragile whispers on the wind, each day a reminder of what had been lost and what could never be reclaimed. Elena and Isabella, though separated by distance and circumstance, carried within them the indelible mark of that fateful summer, a mark that manifested in quiet moments of remembrance, in the bittersweet cadence of old songs, and in the silent tears shed under moonlit skies. Their story, once vibrant and full of promise, had become a mournful elegy, a testament to the fragility of love and the devastating cost of divided hearts. Yet, even in the midst of sorrow, there remained a glimmer of hope, a faint, almost imperceptible reminder that love, in all its myriad forms, had the power to shape destinies and leave an indelible mark on the soul. In the final, poignant years of their lives, as the memories of youth gave way to the quiet wisdom of age, both sisters found themselves drawn back to Veridale, a pilgrimage to the place where their hearts had once soared and shattered in equal measure. Under the ancient boughs of the town's oldest oak tree, they met one crisp autumn afternoon. Time had etched its story upon their faces, and the distance between them, though still present, had softened with the gentle balm of years and regret. In that tender reunion, there was no anger or bitterness, only the shared recognition of a love that had been both their greatest gift and their most painful burden. With trembling voices and eyes that spoke of countless silent apologies, they embraced as if to reclaim a fragment of what had once been lost. In that fragile moment, the wounds of the past began to heal, and the once divided hearts found a measure of solace in the quiet acceptance of life's relentless passage. Yet, the legacy of their shared ordeal remained, a haunting reminder of the choices that had irrevocably altered the course of their lives. Elena and Isabella, though forever changed by the crucible of forbidden love, carried forward a wisdom born of sorrow and the bittersweet beauty of loss. Their lives, like the quiet streams that meandered through Veridale, continued to flow, sometimes in tandem, sometimes apart, but always touched by the indelible echoes of a love that had once united them in both ecstasy and agony. And as the seasons turned and the memories of that long-ago summer faded into the mists of time, the town of Veridale itself became a living monument to the timeless, often painful truths of the human heart, a silent guardian of stories that, though marred by heartbreak, shone with the fragile light of hope and redemption. In the end, the tale of Elena, Isabella, and Gabriel was not one of simple triumph or easy resolution. It was a story of passion and sacrifice, of dreams interwoven with